Mic check, 1 2 1 2. What it do, man? It's your boy RealToon, so you know it's real money in the room. But today, instead of talking about the money, I want to get into something that isn't really funny, something very serious. The life of Love Enchanting. So first and foremost, I want to send my condolences to her, to her family, and to anyone who has ever loved her. Typically, I wouldn't speak on these situations, but I thought it was very interesting because people are blaming somebody who I value my relationship with, right? Jhonnie Damn D. So I've been knowing Jhonnie since I came to Fort Worth. Everybody knows that I've been in Fort Worth 2019, 2020. And Jhonnie Damn D is somebody whom you have to know. I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all a little history on Jhonnie, Love Enchanting, and the Fort Worth scene, just so that people know, because a lot of people don't know Jhonnie. The only thing they know about Jhonnie is that he was the last person seen next to Enchanting around the time of her death. And that's not a good look for Jhonnie. So let's just say I know Jhonnie, but I'm not biased at all, 100%. So Jhonnie is first and foremost a super producer. He has never been known for making music up until recently. He's known for producing. He's worked with as an engineer and producer the likes of Go Yayo, Stop 6 Low Key, Spud Boom, you name it. If they came out of Fort Worth, Jhonnie probably had something to do with them at some point. Jhonnie was the place where Yayo got his most notoriety. The fight with Spud Boom, Jhonnie was there. Jhonnie would later sign with Bugatti Casino as Bugatti became a poppin' rapper. So now you see Jhonnie repping Casino, banging Casino. Jhonnie's also from Stop 6, so he naturally aligns with that side. But Jhonnie has never been one of those people whom you see in the mix of the beef. As of right now, you see his music is more geared towards dancing, turning up. That's who Jhonnie was. Well, Jhonnie would find himself stepping away from music, stepping away from being an artist and handling the business for a woman whom he got to know that was once a stripper / Waffle House worker named Love Enchanting. Jhonnie would link Love Enchanting with another rapper by the name of Bugatti Casino, leverage the clout and the gangsterism, stamp her as a Fort Worth Stop 6 pretty gangster female, when the reality is Enchanting is not known from a hood in Fort Worth. Yes, people from Fort Worth are claiming her now that she's gone, but it's a known fact that Enchanting's from Euless, or went to Euless. She definitely went to Trinity. Okay, a lot of rappers went to Trinity. That doesn't mean that they're per se from Euless, but they went to Trinity. Splurge is another one from Arlington, went to Trinity. Okay, Enchanting is one of those. We don't really know where she's from, but somebody like Bugatti, who's a big dog in his section, in his area. See, Fort Worth is one of those cities where you have to have family. Your family gives you your name. So you have a name that you earn yourself, but typically people respect you because they respected your uncle. Boo's uncles, we don't got to get into that. Boo's brother, we don't got to get into that. Just know that Boo's family was known before Boo. So Boo comes in the game with clout, notoriety, and he's been on the streets since he was young. So when Enchanting linking with Boo by Jhonnie Damn D, or through Jhonnie Damn D, is nothing short of a genius play to build Enchanting's clout. Jhonnie Damn D continued to build her. He built her up until the point to where she went to 1017. When she got to 1017, obviously they had been having relationship issues, but now more of the leverage is on her. And as most artists do, they leave the label, or they leave their partner for something bigger. We all know Enchanting was messing around with people in the industry like Big Scar, so on and so forth, right? So why would she stick around with this local joker who has no accomplishments, hasn't done anything, and is not even the biggest person within his circle? All he can say is, I'm a genius and look at what I've done for you. And to be honest, artists are very ungrateful, so artists may not know what you've done for them, may not be able to tell what you've done for them, may not even care about what you've done for them. So guess what Enchanting did? Enchanting did what any logical person who's not so logical would do. She left him. Jhonnie was bitter. Now, Jhonnie was smart. Jhonnie had Enchanting on contract. So Jhonnie took out a LLC, called it Love Enchanting, and made himself the owner or co-owner. To my knowledge, the owner. So Jhonnie owned Enchanting, the corporation. So when Enchanting was going through her deal with Gucci, a lot of the situation was held up because Jhonnie was entitled to compensation from the deal, and it really messed off of a lot of Enchanting's business. So Enchanting hated Jhonnie. Enchanting had a strong disdain for Jhonnie. Enchanting did not mess with Jhonnie like that, especially throughout her success. Jhonnie hated Enchanting. Jhonnie didn't like Enchanting when she was blowing up. Jhonnie wasn't the most happy for Enchanting. Like, he respected it. He called it what it was. He was fair about it. But the reality of it is, Jhonnie, well, and why would he? Rightfully so. I'm on Johnny's side on that note. She left me. I'm not entitled to support her. F her. If that's how I'm feeling, you know what I'm saying? And vice versa with Enchanting. He's holding up my career. So those two, we didn't see them getting back together. They actually went live one time. Enchanting joined my live, RealToonTV, from a fake account, right? And I had Jhonnie Damn D on the account. They talked about several issues in their relationship, from domestic violence to bad business to good business to great times, on both sides too. When I say domestic violence, usually we just look at the man, but it's not always just the man. It's also the woman, and other things that may cause and may lead to. There's no excuse for it, but that's the reality of it, right? So that was 2 years ago when I was staying in Atlanta. They were not on the best of terms. I recently threw an event, and Jhonnie Damn D was in attendance to my event. To my knowledge, Enchanting was also supposed to come. I got word from Lil Zach, the DJ, Mo3's DJ, that he had invited Enchanting, and a reliable source, somebody who was deemed to have managed her, invited her. Enchanting shares on her story that it was capped, that she was coming to the event, that she wasn't coming to the event. Oh well, no Enchanting. We still sold out, overcapacitated. People couldn't get in. There was a line all night. Y'all heard of Downtown Fest. That was what was going on. I'll make sure I insert links for reference. Jhonnie Damn D pulls up to Houston to come to the event. Love Enchanting is in his car. Somehow, some way, it's to my knowledge that Jhonnie Damn D and Enchanting got back together the night of my event. Breaking news, people. My event brought them together. Since that day, they had been rocking. Now, Jhonnie Damn D has shared several text messages showing that since that day, she's been sharing information, and he knew that she was having withdrawals from her drug addiction. He also knew that she had a drug addiction. How did he know? Because the messages from the parents and the family knew. Everybody knew. So the family has now sent a letter essentially saying that Jhonnie is defaming Enchanting's character, and he needs to cease and desist from speaking on them, or he may face legal consequences. So Jhonnie and the family are now at odds because there is obviously a blame game being played surrounding her death. Now, it's very unfortunate for the family because Enchanting's still not buried, right? They haven't even finished grieving, but Jhonnie is sharing different things to the media because he's trying to clear his name, but it doesn't make the family look good. So a lot of people are taking the family side because guess what? It's the family. But the reality of the situation is the family's not always right, and the family's not always just. A lot of times, the people that we mess with that are not family, somebody say blood is thicker than mud, but sometimes it ain't even thicker than water. And I'm not saying this is true for Enchanting's family, but I'm saying we have to be fair when identifying and analyzing the situation at hand. And the situation at hand is who's responsible for giving Enchanting pills. Jhonnie says that the parents said he should give her pills because you cannot quit doing drugs cold turkey because your body is now dependent on the drugs. Yes, her body is depending on the drugs. She didn't die, to my knowledge, from overdose. She died from withdrawals. According to the family, Jhonnie told paramedics that she was off heroin and other drugs. Those are essentially what we call opioids. Opioids are highly addictive substances, just like lean, right? Lean is a form of heroin. It is an opioid. Enchanting was on opioids. Big Scar, her lover, her industry lover, died from the usage of opioids. We have an opioid crisis here in Texas, especially Fort Worth, but it's very apparent amongst our big artists. Unfortunately, Enchanting, at the tender age of 26, beautiful as all outdoors, passed because of her opioid addiction. A lot of people are upset with Charleston White, calling her a dope fiend and so on and so forth. Yes, his rhetoric is very mean, but there's a lot of truth in what Charleston is saying. And I personally think, instead of attacking the youth for doing these drugs, we need to figure out ways of either getting the drugs off the street or getting the youth off of the drugs. Because the reality is, while painkillers may be okay, pills are pressed and laced with other drugs in order to, like fentanyl, in order to stretch the pill at a cheaper rate, get more bang for your buck. The problem with this is that it's killing people, right? It's like having 24 karat gold and 14 karat gold. You've diluted the pure gold in order to make the gold stretch. So now, instead of having 24K, you have 14K with a little copper, a little zinc, a little iron, a little, you know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, that's how Enchanting died. Withdrawals, bad pills. Is Jhonnie per se guilty for administering the pills to Enchanting, or is he guilty for not administering the pills to Enchanting? I think Johnny's problem was he was listening to the instructions of the family and wanting to do his own thing. I think that the situation was really out of his control. There was nothing that Jhonnie could do at the point in which he came in contact with Enchanting. And so now he's back with her. He's toting her around as, you know, his little industry princess. This is his baby. He got her back. It's cool to look at, but he's also knowing the ugly truth. And the reality is she should have been admitted into a rehab facility, a professional establishment that could have helped take care of her. But that's not how the family wanted to take it. And so Johnny's job at that point was to ensure that Enchanting was taken care of to the best of his ability. And following the family's orders may not have been the best thing, but Johnny's now trying to blame the family, and the family's trying to blame Jhonnie, when in reality, I'm not gonna say they're both in cahoots. Maybe none of them were wrong. It doesn't look like it just doesn't look like the advice that the family gave to Jhonnie was bad advice. But they aren't professionals, and she died. So who's to say that Jhonnie followed the family's advice to the T? Who's to say that that's even the family's advice? I think we really have to wait until the family speaks to get the full synopsis. My advice to you, Jhonnie, is quit talking so much to the media, giving them specific information. Take control of your own narrative and get out there and speak. But the family has silenced you. So if you're going to speak, make sure you speak in truth, because you will face the reprimand, you will face the repercussions, you will face the damages, legal damages, punitive damages, if you are defaming her character. RealToon TV signing out, man.